My blood still boils when I think about it. 1 second, I was just trying to buy some water for my police academy cohort. The next, I was facing down a woman who clearly skipped her meds and decided I was her personal punching bag. It had been a brutal day of training, the kind that leaves you feeling like you've run a marathon through a swamp. My fellow cadet Jake and I were both absolutely parched. Wally, the big box store, was our target. Jake, being Jake, immediately veered off towards the snack section, leaving me to wrestle with a buggy overflowing with 4 industrial-sized cases of water. We needed it. Our barracks practically ran on bottled H2O. I was already sweating, envisioning the cold splash of water when I felt a sharp tap on my shoulder. "Excuse me, you with the water mountain," a voice rasped, cutting through the store's muzak. "You're taking up enough space for a small car, aren't you?" I took a slow breath, turning around. "Another one?" She was textbook Karen. A tight, sprayed into submission blonde bun, a garish floral print dress that screamed church lady from 1950, and a face already set in a permanent sneer. Her eyes, magnified behind thick glasses, zero in on my overflowing cart. Then me. "Are you deaf, girl?" I said. "You're blocking the whole aisle. Move your behemoth." My internal cop in training kicked in. Breathe, Sophia. Remain calm. De-escalate. But my tired, thirsty self just wanted to tell her to shove off. "Ma'am," I managed, my voice strained. "I'm just buying some water for my training group. I'll be out of the way in a minute." Karen scoffed, her gaze sweeping over my simple t-shirt and athletic shorts, clearly not a Wally uniform. "Oh, training group, are we? You think that gives you special privileges to hog the whole aisle? You look like you work here, acting all bossy with that cart. You should know better than to block paying customers." Aha! There it is. She hadn't even bothered to check my attire. She just saw a young woman managing a big cart and assumed I was staff. "Ma'am, I don't work here," I stated, trying to keep my tone even. "I'm a customer just like you." Her sneer deepened, morphing into something far uglier. "Oh, I know your type. Think you're so important because you're off to play cop, don't you? All high and mighty above the rules, pushing your weight around. Entitled little, what are they calling you cadets these days? Thugs in training?" That hit a nerve. My future career, my dedication, being twisted into an insult by this stranger. The blood started to pound in my ears, but I forced myself to hold it together. "My being a cadet has nothing to do with this, ma'am. I'm just trying to pay for my water." She took a step back, then, without warning, lunged forward, shoving the front of my loaded cart with both hands. The heavy buggy lurched violently, slamming into my stomach. I gasped, stumbling back, the wind momentarily knocked out of me. "Get out of my way, then," she shrieked, her face a blotchy red, practically vibrating with rage. "And go back to where you came from. We don't need your kind clogging up our stores and our streets." That phrase, "your kind," go back to where you came from. It wasn't just about the cart anymore. It was personal, deeply ugly, and laced with venom. My police training, my desire for composure, it all threatened to snap. I could feel my hands clench into fists. Before I could even formulate a retort that wouldn't get me arrested before I even joined the force, a hand landed firmly on Karen's shoulder. "Ma'am, that's enough," a firm voice said. It was a Wally manager, a young guy with a name tag that read Mike, looking both apologetic and utterly fed up. Behind him, Jake was practically running down the aisle, a bag of chips clutched in his hand, his eyes wide with alarm. Karen, instantly turning on the dramatics, screeched. "She assaulted me, and this thug told me to go back to where I came from." She pointed a trembling finger not at me, but at Mike. The audacity was astounding. Mike, surprisingly calm, just shook his head. "Ma'am, I witnessed the entire interaction from the snack aisle. You pushed her cart into her, and I clearly heard what you said." He then looked at me, his expression softening. "Are you okay, ma'am?" Jake was at my side in an instant, pulling me gently away from the cart. "Sophia? What happened? Are you hurt?" Karen continued to rant, but Mike was already steering her firmly towards the front of the store, muttering something about security and banning. Jake, meanwhile, was inspecting my gut where the cart had hit. "I'm fine," I said, though my voice was a bit shaky. "Just, wow. That was a lot." Jake shook his head, pushing my now slightly dented cart towards the checkout. "Some people, Soph. You handled that like a pro, though. definitely ready for the force. I managed a weak smile. Ready for the force, maybe. But definitely not ready for the casual bigotry and utter lunacy of a Wally's Saturday afternoon. We paid for our water in silence, the taste of cheap plastic now mixed with the bitter aftertaste of a Karen gone wild. At least we had our water, and a story that made even Jake speechless.
You think the first two were crazy, the next one's a whole different level. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more stories like this.
You people are all the same. No manners, no respect. That's what this absolute menace of a woman was screaming at my friend and me, right there in aisle 7 of the grocery store, marshmallows still clutched in our hands. Honestly, all we wanted was some sugar for s'mores. What we got instead was a full-blown Karen meltdown, a wrestling match over a jacket and nearly a police report, all because of my buddy's killer gothic style. It was a Tuesday afternoon, dead quiet. My friend, let's call him Alex, and I were just chilling, tossing a bag of marshmallows into our cart and cracking jokes about something silly. Alex was rocking his usual look, jet black hair, some understated eyeliner, a band tee, and crucially, those magnificent chunky platform boots he practically lives in. You know the vibe. We were laughing, totally oblivious, when this voice, sharp enough to cut glass, sliced through our good mood. "Excuse me, you two." We turned. Textbook Karen, the kind with the aggressive bob, the scowl permanently etched on her face and that air of unearned superiority. She was glaring at us, eyes narrowed like we'd just personally offended her ancestors. She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might get stuck. "Can you check if there are any more organic, cage-free, gluten-free, single-origin whatever the hell it was in the back?" she demanded, gesturing vaguely towards a shelf. Alex, ever the sarcastic one, just blinked at her. No, sorry, I don't actually work here." He gestured down at his band t-shirt and ripped jeans, a clear contrast to the store's polo uniform. Her face contorted. "Yes, you do." She jabbed a finger, almost accusingly, right at Alex's chest. "Don't lie to me." "I saw you in here yesterday." Then, before I could even process that, her finger swung over, stopping a literal inch from my nose. "And you, help him." I instinctively flinched back. Alex must have seen my discomfort because he gently took my shoulders and steered me a step away. That sent Karen into overdrive. "Don't you dare walk away from me," she shrieked, actually shushing Alex like he was a naughty child. And that's when the you people started. God, you people are all the same. No manners, no respect. Just standing around, gossiping, ignoring paying customers? Her voice was ratcheting up, echoing off the high ceilings. Alex and I exchanged a look. Then, almost in unison, our eyes drifted down to his platform boots. They were substantial, distinct, absolutely not part of any retail uniform I'd ever seen. Karen seemed to notice our glance. "Well, what do you have to say for yourselves?" She practically screamed, clearly thinking we were now properly chastened. The "you people" comment, mixed with her increasingly aggressive tone, had started to boil our blood. It wasn't just about her mistaking us for employees anymore, it was the sheer condescension and the underlying bigotry. I tried to diffuse it, stepping forward slightly. "Ma'am, we're just trying to get our groceries. We don't work here, genuinely. Maybe you could ask someone with a name tag." "Mind your own damn business," she snapped, cutting me off mid-sentence. "And as for him," she pointed at Alex again, "I want your manager, now." Okay, this was going nowhere fast. Alex just sighed, shook his head and grabbed my arm. "Come on, Julian, let's just go." We had what we needed, so we started to make our escape, pushing our cart towards the self-checkout. We barely made it a few paces before we heard the frantic thud-thud-thud of someone running behind us. Before we knew it, Karen was on us, a blur of indignant fury. She actually lunged, hooking her fingers into the back of Alex's jacket, trying to physically yank him backward. Alex stumbled, catching himself before he went down. As he did, he instinctively stuck out his foot to regain his balance, and with a sickening thud, his heavy platform boot landed squarely on Karen's foot. An ear-piercing howl ripped through the supermarket. "My foot! You broke my foot!" Alex, who had been trying to keep his cool, was now visibly furious. He whirled around, ready to face her down. I, meanwhile, reacted purely on instinct, grabbing Karen's wrist to try and pull her off Alex. But she was committed to her performance. With a dramatic shriek, she threw herself to the ground, taking down an entire cardboard display of energy drinks with a crash and a clatter that made everyone in the vicinity freeze. An actual store employee, a young guy looking utterly bewildered, appeared from around an aisle, drawn by the cacophony. Karen, now dramatically prone amidst a scattering of fluorescent energy drink cans, immediately launched into her victim routine. She sat up, clutching her foot like she was mortally wounded. Despite having just thrown herself down, "These two just attacked me. Call the police." "I want him fired and both of them arrested," she wailed, pointing a shaking finger at us. I tried to explain to the bewildered employee, "Sir, she grabbed my friend, and then she fell. We don't even work here." But Karen wasn't letting up. "They assaulted me. I'm pressing charges. Look at this mess. Who's going to pay for this?" The employee, bless his heart, just looked from the screaming woman to us, then to the mess of energy drinks, then back to us. He clearly had no idea what to do. I'll get a manager," he stammered and bolted. A minute later, a stern-looking manager arrived, his face a mask of practiced neutrality. He took one look at the scene and his lips thinned. Karen immediately launched into another loud, tearful rant, embellishing every detail of our brutal assault. The manager, to his credit, tried to calm her down, but she just kept escalating. Then it happened. As the manager was trying to get a word in edgewise, Karen pointed at Alex, her face twisting with pure venom. "And look at him. What kind of pervert is this store hiring? You and your freakish boots. You're a worthless, good-for-nothing racial slur." She spit out a string of truly disgusting racist slurs. The manager's face went from stern to stone. "Ma'am," he said, his voice dangerously low, "I'm calling the police. That is absolutely unacceptable." Suddenly, the young employee who'd initially called the manager spoke up, his eyes widening. Sir, you should probably check the security cameras." It was like a switch flipped. Karen's face, mid-rant, dropped faster than a lead balloon, her whole demeanor crumpled. The fire in her eyes extinguished, replaced by a frantic, almost desperate look. "No! No, don't call the police," she sputtered, scrambling to her feet, suddenly forgetting her broken foot. The manager, who was already pulling out his phone, paused. He looked at us. "Do you want to call the police?" Alex and I exchanged a glance. We were fuming, exhausted, and honestly just wanted out. "No," Alex said, his voice flat. "We just want to buy our marshmallows and go." The manager gave us a weary nod. Karen, looking utterly defeated and surprisingly small, muttered something about needing to leave and scurried off, not even bothering with her original shopping quest. The manager just watched her go, a visible wave of relief washing over his face. We paid for our items, the cashier giving us a sympathetic, knowing smile. As we walked out into the cool air, we couldn't help but reflect on the sheer absurdity of it all. It really was Alex's black clothes, the eyeliner, and those awesome platform boots. Karen, in her small-minded way, had somehow conflated his unique style with a uniform, and then layered on every nasty stereotype she could think of. It was insane. And yeah, maybe we should have called the police. Maybe we should have made her answer for her behavior, especially the slurs. But in that moment, all we could think about was escaping the chaos. We just wanted to make some damn s'mores. Some days you just can't win against that kind of entitlement, no matter how good your boots look.
I was literally just trying to pay for my chips when this woman, let's call her Karen, obviously followed me out of the gas station, glaring like I'd personally stolen her last shred of dignity. My Uber driver, who bless his heart had been patiently waiting, took one look at her screeching face and knew exactly what was up. So, here's how my perfectly normal chill trip for a late-night snack took a hard left into what the actual hell. My Uber ride was cruising, good music, windows down, just a quick hop to the local gas station for some much-needed chips. I was feeling good, you know? Just a regular Tuesday evening. Pulled up, hopped out, thanked the driver and told him I'd be quick. Inside, I was just minding my own business, browsing the chip aisle when this woman barrels around the corner. She looked like she was on a mission, so I stepped slightly to the side to give her some space. Figured it was just common courtesy, right? Wrong. She stopped dead, right in front of me, hands on her hips, and practically snarled, "Where do you think you're going with that attitude?" I blinked. Nowhere, ma'am. Just stepping out of your way." Her eyes narrowed. "Don't play stupid with me. You work here, don't you? I saw you standing there just loitering. Now, stop wasting my time and show me where the good barbecue chips are. Not those stale ones you tried to pass off last week." My brain just kinda short-circuited for a second. "Ma'am, I actually don't work here. I'm just a customer, like you." I even kinda gestured at my regular clothes, which were, not a uniform. She actually scoffed. "Oh, please, everyone in this dump pretends they don't work here when a customer needs help. I know your game. Now, are you going to help me, or am I going to have to speak to your manager?" Okay, now I was getting annoyed. And a little uneasy. This woman was just not hearing me. It was like I was speaking a completely different language. "I really don't work here. I'm just here for some chips." I pointed vaguely at the chip aisle. "Unbelievable," she huffed, crossing her arms. "Fine, be useless. I'll just find them myself, and you can explain to your boss why you refuse to help a paying customer." She actually took a step towards me, like she was going to block my path. I just wanted out, so I grabbed my chips, mumbled, "Have a nice evening," and practically speed walked to the cashier. She followed me, still muttering under her breath about lazy employees and entitled young people. I could feel her eyes burning into the back of my head the entire time I paid. I thought I was home free once I had my receipt. I made a beeline for the exit, hoping to just slide into my Uber and be done with it. But no. Oh no. As I stepped out into the night air, there she was, right behind me. "Oh, so you are leaving," she screeched, pointing a finger at me. "Trying to run away from your responsibilities, are we? I'm going to make sure you get fired for this." My Uber driver, bless his cotton socks, had the window rolled down. He'd probably heard the whole thing escalating from the car. He must have seen the wild look in her eyes as she confronted me, standing outside the gas station. He didn't even hesitate. "Ma'am," he called out, his voice firm and clear. "He doesn't work here, he's my passenger. You need to leave him alone right now." Karen's head snapped towards him, her jaw practically hitting the pavement. "Excuse me," she shrieked, totally taken aback. "Who are you to interfere? I'm reporting this young man for gross misconduct." My driver just shook his head. "No, ma'am. You're harassing my passenger. I'm not going to ask you again. Step away from my car and leave him be." He looked absolutely ready to get out if she didn't comply. The air hung heavy for a second. Karen just stood there, sputtering, her face turning a shade of angry purple. She clearly wasn't used to being shut down so decisively. Finally, she let out an exasperated, high-pitched humph and stomped off towards her own car, which was parked just a few spots down. She slammed her door shut with enough force to shake the whole gas station and then peeled out of the parking lot like a bat out of hell. I just stood there, staring after her, a mixture of adrenaline and pure disbelief coursing through me. I turned to my driver and let out a shaky laugh. "Dude, thank you. Seriously, what even just happened?" He just chuckled, pulling away from the gas station. "Some people, right? You get all sorts in this job. Glad I could help you out." We had a good laugh about it on the way home, talking about the sheer audacity of it all. Who just assumes someone works somewhere and then goes full banshee when they're proven wrong, and follows them out to their car? Got my chips in the end, though. And a story that's definitely going on Reddit. Sometimes you just need a good Uber driver to save you from a Karen, even when you're just trying to buy a damn snack.
Feel like keeping it going? Here's a solid pick.